Okay, this is the third video of this Misha Tal series, and this is the game that you saw on a YouTube short and that you really liked, and you asked me if I knew the game, and I couldn't find it in my database, and I think it's probably from another simul where Black was an amateur player because he makes a mistake in a theoretical line, as we'll see. But we saw again Tal winning the game in a beautiful sacrificing and attacking style.
What did you think of the game, Rick, overall?
Yeah, it looks very spectacular in the YouTube short. As we'll see, Black makes after the opening, Black was out of book, didn't know what to do anymore, and then he was finished off in only a few moves. It's for Tal, it was something that he probably saw immediately. It looks very spectacular, but probably for him it was a walk in the park. So I think the previous one that we looked at, and also the first video that we did, where Tal won the special prize for the most spectacular game. Um, they are they're better than the game we're going to watch now. But looking at that YouTube short, you think, wow, this is incredible. And it's still, if you and I could play like this, we'd be very proud of ourselves. But it's probably not Tal's best attacking performance. It was too easy.
Yeah.
We'll see. When Black made the mistake, it was made in three, I think. So, that's for Tal. That's he doesn't even blink for those.
Yeah.
Let's see what happened. Um, Tal was white. E4. He played mostly. He didn't always play E4 later in his career. Also, Tal later in his life, he dropped the sacrifices and all the spectacular combinations, and he became more of a positional player and didn't always play E4. Um,
There's a
but
reason why there was a reason why he changed.
Yeah, but I think I gave you a quote there from Fischer in the first video on Tal, and I think Fischer said that Tal didn't really care if what he played was sound and if the combinations were correct. He just wanted to create a mess on the board and trusted the fact that he was more comfortable with the mess than his opponent, something like that. And
Mm.
later in his career, when he maybe didn't have the energy that he had when he was younger, and when he was found out by opponents who did not fall for his crazy sacrifices, he became a more rounded player.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he was frighteningly strong and still very attractive to watch, but not all his games were like this. Let's put it that way. They did not sacrifice pieces in every game.
Rick, who's your favorite chess player?
Bobby Fischer.
Is it Bobby? Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, and your one is Paul Morphy, right?
Yeah, and have you got a second, Rick? Have you got someone second place?
Yeah, Tal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who would
Yeah,
your second be?
me. No, uh, Murphy. I love Sean Murphy. Sean Murphy. We'll be watching the snooker. That's right. Paul Murphy. And I'd say I don't know after that. The reason why is because I'm not really educated with chess players, but I really love Paul Murphy because I think what he did in his time was amazing.
Ah, I can't agree with you more. I love Paul Morphy as well. He was a genius. He was probably the first real genius in chess. And it's a nice echo that there was another genius, Bobby Fischer, also from America, who also well was a genius, but uh, has also a sad life story. But what I admire, why Fischer is my favorite player is because chess is a difficult game. You and I can agree on that. He made chess look easy. When you play through many of Fischer's games, when I play through a Fischer game, I always think I can play like that. That's not that difficult. I can do that. And then you try to play like that, and then something goes wrong everywhere. But yeah, he's the only one of those the greats of the game who made chess look like an easy game. And that I don't know how he did that.
I think the thing with Paul Murphy is I know people saying, "Oh, how would he survive today?" But he did what he did off nothing really. So if he
Yeah,
had all the sources, the books, the information,
Yeah.
with his natural talent. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. If he had access to the knowledge that we have now, because you're right, I think they calculated once how strong was Paul Morphy really, and I think he was about international master level nowadays.
What's
Um,
that?
well,
He
that's
knows
very
that.
strong. There's a lot stronger than you and I am. Rating about 2400,
Yeah.
um,
What's Carlson now?
2800 something.
Hmm.
So he would not be at the grandmaster. The grandma would not have the level of grandmaster today. But of course, it's a totally unfair comparison because, as you just said, Morphy did not have access to the wealth of knowledge we have now, and we're really standing on the shoulders of giants. And Morphy was a giant. So yeah, brilliant player, wonderful.
Do you think Bobby Fischer would have beaten Magnus?
Not with the knowledge that he had in when he became world champion in 1972. With the knowledge about chess he had then, he would not beat Carlsen today. And it's the same thing. It's not fair on Fischer to say that because he did not have the knowledge, and Carlsen does. The
Yeah.
50 years later, so much more has been found out about chess. And
Hmm.
if you put
We'll
Fischer
have to
or
go
Morphy
over.
in this day of age and you give him 3 years to learn everything, well, then you have a great fight.
We'll have to go over some Fischer games soon.
Yeah, I'm happy to show you Fischer games. I have lots of them, and yeah,
Brilliant.
some of them are really really beautiful. He played the
Brilliant.
game of the
Thank you.
century, by the way, when he was 13 in 1956. He played an amazing game in New York, where he was just in a local chess club against Donald Byrne, and was voted when in the turn of the century. That game of 13-year-old Bobby Fischer was voted the game of the century. Imagine
Why is
that you're
that Rick?
13, you already played your best game ever.
Why is that Rick?
Because it was such an amazing game. It's a beautiful game.
So
With
how do you search for that? Bobby Fischer versus who? Sorry.
Donald Byrne, Byrne. So I guess if you,
Donald Byrne.
sorry,
Donald
Donald Byrne,
Donald
yeah, Donald,
Byrne.
as in Donald Duck. There
Yeah.
were two Burns. There was also Robert Byrne, but this was against Donald Byrne. It was 1956. I'm sure there's lots of
Okay.
videos. I don't know if
Game of
I
the
made
cen-
a video on it myself, but probably did somewhere.
Game of the century.
Probably if you put in YouTube Bobby
Okay.
Fischer Game of the Century, you get 20 hits
I'll
with
find it.
videos on that game or more.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was black, and it was a masterpiece. How he sacrificed his queen, and yeah, have a look at it, and I'm happy to show the game to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into this
Thanks,
game.
mate.
Yeah, we're leaving our viewers with all our chatting about Morphy and Fischer and stuff. Let's play some chess. E4, C5, and another Sicilian, knight f3, D6, D4. The main line, you've got this on the board many times. Knight C3, and we just saw the dragon with G6. Remember, this move was played. And now we see A6, and that is called the Najdorf line. And Najdorf was an Argentinian grandmaster and this line is named after him. It's one of the main lines from the Sicilian, and especially Fischer and Kasparov used to play it a lot. Carlsen plays it as well. Very famous line, the Najdorf. Bishop G5, E6, and F4. And here you have many moves. You can play Bishop E7, which I would recommend, to break the pin and prefer castling. You can play Queen B6, attacking the soldier on B2. And white has to think, do I want to sacrifice that pawn or not? But in the game, black played B5. Also a logical move. And Tal played E5. You know, looks like, are we winning already a piece because the knight on F6 is pinned? Not quite, because black can take. White takes. And there's really only one good way now to um, make sure we don't lose a piece. And you've seen the short video. Do you remember what black played here? Really the only good move.
Mm, no, can you give me a clue?
Queen move.
Is it queen two? Where can he move? Is
Not
it
so
is it
easy if you haven't seen it before.
is it A5?
And what's the point? Or is that a guess, or have you got a point?
No, to to pin the knight.
Yeah, and then what if I take your piece on f6? So queen a5, e takes f6. Have you got anything in store? I just took a piece. Thank you.
There's a double attack somewhere. Okay, so can I move the pawn to B4 attacking C3?
Yeah. Okay, I
And
play
then
my knight to safety. Not only to safety, but I'm also protecting my bishop on g5, of course.
can I move the pawn to B3?
Yeah, and that's a check.
Check.
So
What
I
do
play c3.
I don't know, Vic, I'm lost.
No, this is and this was not the move, but it was a brave try. I'll show you the move. So f takes e after f takes e5, black does not lose a piece because there's queen c7. And maybe you can explain to me what happens now if we take on f6.
Oh, check. Double attack.
Yeah,
E5.
give me the move.
Attacking the bishop.
Yeah, so
Queen E5. Check. Attacking G5.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, let's use chess players' language. Queen e5 check, and that's how you win the piece back. So that's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yes,
Um,
lovely.
yeah. So that's why Queen c7 was played by black, and Queen e2, renewing the threat to take on f6. But of course now the knight is no longer pinned. You know the queen has moved, so the knight could now jump back to d7. So black has really solved that nicely. It looked like he's lost a piece, but with a cute queen c7, he was able to make sure he would not lose a piece. So it's about equal. White castled queenside. Well, in all our games, we see queenside castling from white. Bishop b7 developing. And here it looks very spectacular. And that was, of course, the first sacrifice in the video. But it's a theoretical line. So it's something that players who play the Najdorf must know. If you play black, you must know that knight takes e6 is a move, and that you don't fall off your chair. Um, but it's a theoretical move. Black recaptures, and what is the point? The point is that you get compensation with the move queen g4, and you have an attack
Oh,
going. And the black king in the middle, he still has pieces at home, so white is threatening to take on e6, and it's a very sharp game. Obviously, it's the balance of white having sacrificed material for an attack, and if black survives the attack, he's a piece up. If he doesn't, he might have to give material back. So very sharp fight, very sharp line of the Najdorf, but all theoretical.
mm,
And here the theory move, and I looked it up in preparation for this video, and this is what been played many times by grandmasters. Um, the move here is queen takes e5. Makes sense. You protect the
yeah,
pawn
it's
on
protect.
e6. And the game goes on. Still, white is in a dangerous initiative. Um, and the main line here is bishop d3. And then bishop e7 has to be played. Anyway, this is played many times at grandmaster level. And the game is in a balance, but a lot of spectacular and sharp chess to be played. But after queen g4, this black player, which is probably an amateur, probably was out of book by now. He knew the moves up to here, but then he forgot how he should continue, and he blundered. And that's why this game is more spectacular, uh, less spectacular than it looks, because after the move queen b6, which he played, which is a blunder, um, Tal probably blinked twice and saw the winning continuation.
Why is it a blunder then, Rick?
Yeah, well, not you're right. It's not so obvious. You must. This is really what you must know. It's hard to figure out at the board what the right move order is, what the right moves are. But it's not Queen B6 because now Tal found the strongest move, and that is Rook D6. That's what he played. This one.
Mm.
Um, what
Sacrifice the middle.
Queen B6 did was, of course, protecting that E6 pawn, which White had attacked with his queen on G4.
Oh, so
That
he's
was the
bringing the bishop in to disrupt the thing,
bringing the
the
rook in. Yeah,
connection.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Bringing the rook in, but
okay.
attacking the queen. Of course, it's another sacrifice because that rook is hanging by this guy. But
So it's yeah, it's so Rick, it's to bring the bishop in to stop the queen protecting e6.
bringing the rook in. Yeah, it's a rook. Yeah, not a bishop.
No, but the bishop's going to take, doesn't
Yes,
he?
exactly. Oh, sorry. Yes. Oh, you're already a step ahead of me.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah,
yeah,
Black
that's clever. That
did indeed take, and now the protection, as you say, from the queen on the pawn is gone. So that was the point of the rook sacrifice. So now he can
was it
take on
worth the
e6.
rook? Is it
Sorry,
worth the rook?
it is
Is
worth a
that
rook
worth
because
the
it's a
rook?
forced checkmate. So Tal calculated that it's all forced checkmate, and if it is a forced checkmate, yeah, then it's worth the material
Yeah,
investment. He just needed to
yeah.
break the connection between the queen and the pawn on e6.
And before we move any forward, am I right? Like I know these grandmasters, I'm just asking from like a beginner point of view. So when it comes to checkmating, how many pieces do you really need? H1 isn't even into play. The bishop's still on the rank. The knight's not doing much. Um, you just need what, a piece and a queen.
In this case, you do because yeah, that black king is so unhappy, and once you take on e6, well, as we'll see, what you said there is really nice. You said these two pieces are doing nothing, and then we so many times we had sessions where I talked to you about this, play with all your pieces, and actually we'll see Tal how he solves that problem because he is going to play with more pieces um, in a very very nice magical way. And as you can see, it does apply to the grades of the game as it does to you and me. Even the greats of the game need to play with all their pieces, and we'll see how Tal solves that problem. So, queen takes e6 check. That was the whole point, that you could take that pawn and bring the queen in a even more attacking position. Um, you really have to play king f8. There's no other move. If you interpose the bishop, it gets taken with checkmate. So king
Yeah.
f8 was played. And now, how do you continue? As you say, you only have two pieces in the attack. That's not going to deliver checkmate. You need more.
Uh, I'm looking at. Is it knight d5?
It was not
To
knight
get
d5. I agree with you that it brings another piece into the attack, but I guess I just take it, and the attacker is gone.
Okay, go back then, please. We need to get the rook into play, don't we? So
Exactly.
let's
That's
go.
exactly, and that's what Tal did with his next move.
Bishop d3.
Yeah, bishop d3 is a way to develop the rook, but it's a bit too slow. I'm just looking. It's still good. The engine says it's still good for white. It's probably still a winning attack. But I show you Tal's move, which makes it even nicer. He played this one.
Hmm. So he sacrificed his bishop.
He sacrifices bishop, and it's a bit more. It's a bit more forcing than your move, Aaron, because Black really has to take it with
Of
a bishop
course,
on
because checkmate
d3.
to f7.
There's checkmate on f7, so there's really nothing you can do against it. So it's uh, it's again, a, yeah, a sacrifice that has to be accepted. So bishop b takes c4, and what was the point? He just gave a bishop away for nothing. But what was the
Is
point?
that to win a
Why?
move? To win a move back?
to win a move back. We saw that in the previous game as well, didn't we?
He needs a move, so I'll do this. It's forcing, and then I win it back. So he plays Rook F1.
Because he played rook f1. So it's not only that
Hmm.
the bishop went out of the way, the bishop was on that square. It's really just vacating the square for the rook. And by sacrificing itself, and black had to accept it because there was a mate on f7.
So
But
there's
it's
a
still not,
nine here.
no, not yet, because there's knight f6. Why sacrifice so much material so that black can sacrifice something back? But now it's
Hmm.
mate in two.
Mate in two. Oh, does he play Rook to F6?
Rook takes f6 check. You have only one legal move.
Take the with the pawn. Um, Queen F6.
Then I can still go to e8, right? Or g8.
Oh, okay. Oh, Bishop H6.
Beautiful.
Conga
Checkmate.
there, conga there, conga there, conga there, conga there.
Yeah. So we only have a queen, a bishop, and a knight left, and black has a whole army of pieces, but most of them are at home or looking on from afar.
Rick,
So,
can he go back? What was the point of sacrificing the rook?
oh, mate in two.
Can you explain how that makes it possible? Why do you sacrifice the rook?
To lure the pawn away from g7.
Oh, to get that line open.
Yeah, to get the diagonal open.
So
Yeah.
he would have saw that if 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 that G pawn, G7 pawn isn't there, I've got the queen and the bishop with an attack. How do I get it away? Sacrifice the rook.
Yeah, it's mate in two because this is the only legal move. And then, as you said, suddenly the diagonal is open and the bishop delivers a checkmate, and the queen takes all the other squares away. Yeah, so beautiful. If I could play a game like this, I would retire. But for Tal, this was not very difficult. The opponent blundered with that queen b6 move instead of taking on e5 at the end of a theoretical line, and then it's just sacrifice, sacrifice, and
You
forced
see,
checkmate.
if we put the bishop back to G5, so I said, is there? I know I would have took Queen F6. So let's just do that. I want to see what follows, what can follow. And the king can go to. Okay, yeah. And then
It's
can I
still mate in
play?
two, by the way. It's still mate in two from here. See if we can find
Yeah,
it.
Queen E6 is what I would play. Um,
And then either it's the same line as we just saw, or it's this one.
okay, what if he doesn't move the bishop, interpose the bishop? Can he move to another square?
The only square is
Can he
f8,
move,
right? Uh,
can he move? Yeah, yeah. So if he moves to F8,
and that's a line we already
mm,
saw.
and then how do I finish this? Oh, and then it's bishop H6.
Yeah, same checkmate. We just saw that there was a pawn on f6, and now the pawn is gone, but that's the same checkmate.
So
So
that the way I suggested was an extra move in.
yeah, which is fine. Checkmate is checkmate. You don't have it's not you don't have to do it in a certain number of moves. But here's mate in one. Yeah, you might as well give mate in one. Of course,
Bullshit.
before you sacrifice your rook, you have to see it's checkmate. Otherwise, you just gave another exchange up, and you already so much material down. So you have to really
Yeah.
calculate that after rook takes f6 check, that it is in fact checkmate. Don't sacrifice and then start to calculate. That's the wrong way. You do the calculation before you sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, I forgot what I was going to say now. It was really important as well. Um, yeah, it was just about making plays and things. Oh yeah, that was it. Like if like you just said it on the end, if you sacrifice but you develop your pieces, or you sacrifice them but the compensation is there, haven't got casting rights, king safety, you know, it's nice when you can have like a game that involves all the pieces, plays, compens. It's like life, really, and I really enjoy that. Like, yeah, I'm down a piece, but it can't castle. The kings are open. Okay, I haven't got as many pieces, but I've got a good attack. It's nice then because it's worth it, you know. Like recently, as I say, I've been losing plus plus two. They've been plus two with a rook and a plus three with a pawn, and I've won. And I've been on the other hand, plus queen up, plus uh, 10, um, sorry, plus 8, and then, you know, and I've lost. So it's not about the material sometimes. There's so much more to it.
Yes, that exactly. It's in one way, chess is a materialistic game. Very often you see also in grandmaster games somebody wins a pawn and then swaps everything and wins the end game. Sometimes it's like that, but sometimes it's not. It's about sacrifices and getting compensation for a sacrifice, opening up somebody's king position and go for the checkmate. Yeah, no, it's a game of endless beauty. It's very rich, and yeah, you can you'll never master it. Nobody will ever master chess. It's uh, endless possibilities.
Well, that's everything for the video then, Rick. So we'll conclude that. Thanks again.